Sa video na ito, ihahatid natin ang updated travel requirements for the month of May. Ang mga requirements na ito ay based po sa ipinalabas na email mula sa Today's Travel. But before that, magbigay muna tayo ng pinakahuling update tungkol sa Spass. Kailangan na po ng registration with Spass upon entry in the following ports: Batangas, Butuan, Cagayan, Coron, Dumaguete, Iloilo, Iligan, Manila, Uzames, Puerto Princesa, Rojas, at Zamboanga. So, kailangan po na mag-register kayo sa Spass para po makapasok or makasakay kayo ng barko if kayo ay patungo sa mga lugar na nabanggit. Ito po ay based sa memo na ipinalabas ng Philippine Ports Authority last May 7 that states the following. Number 1, the Spass Travel Management System of the Department of Science and Technology or DOST shall be strictly adopted as the one-stop shop application or communication for passengers for implementation in ports under the jurisdiction of the Philippine Ports Authority. Number 2, passengers shall be required to register with Spass and to show proof of the same upon purchase of tickets, entry in port, and upon boarding in order to ensure the compliance with the travel requirements of the concerned local government unit. So in other words po, upon purchasing a ticket, kailangan po ng Spass registration and upon boarding. So hindi po kayo makapasok sa barko if wala kayong may papakita na Spass permits. So pag hindi pa kayo nakapag-register sa Spass, lalagay namin ang link to the video kung saan ipinakita namin kung paano mag-register sa Spass. Please check on the description box for the link to that video. Cagayan Port, meron na po silang bagong basic travel requirements like Spass, stay safe, for contact tracing, kailangan din po ng Spass, and then you have to contact the Cagayan for the travel protocols and requirements. Para naman po sa Puerto Princesa, effective May 10 to 31, entry of all returning residents and non-government uppers from NCR Plus will be temporarily suspended. So only essential travelers and uppers will be permitted to travel. So they need negative RT-PCR test, Spass registration, and coordination with City Emergency Operations Center. Okay, dito naman tayo sa iba't ibang mga ports. First up, we have Manila to Bacolod and Cagayan to Bacolod. So for returning residents, ang mga requirements for Negros province bound na pasahero. So para sa mga papuntang Negros, ang requirements nila is TCP issued by Spass. So you need to register sa Spass para po makakuha kayo ng travel coordination permit. Kailangan din ninyo ma-register sa staysafe.ph, and you also need a negative RT-PCR test result. Could be nasal or saliva. So pwede po siyang swab test or rapid test. So it should be valid for 72 hours from date of swab. So yun po ang mga pasahero na papuntang Negros province. Para naman po sa mga Bacolod City or papuntang Bacolod City, kailangan po nila ng negative RT-PCR test or saliva-based RT-PCR test within 72 hours from the time of travel. So, galing lang po yan sa Philippine Red Cross. Kailangan din po ninyo ng backtrack online registration and health declaration na makuha ninyo online. Kailangan din ninyo ng electronic or printed copy of the travel coordination permit issued by the Spass Travel Management System At kailangan din ninyo ng Stay Safe registration. Para naman sa mga papuntang Bacolod to Manila, travel documents not required. So wala pong requirements for Bacolod to Manila. For Manila to Iloilo naman, kung ikaw ay papuntang Iloilo province, kailangan mo ng negative RT-PCR test not earlier than 72 hours before travel. Kailangan din ninyo ng notice of coordination mula sa LGU. So kailangan din ninyo ng valid government ID with proof of residence and travel coordination permit. Yun po ang mga pasahero na papuntang Iloilo mula Manila to Iloilo province. Samantalang ang mga pasahero na papuntang Iloilo City, kailangan po nila ng TCP na makukuha mula sa Spass. Kailangan din ninyo ng Certificate of Residency from Barangay, and you also need, upon arrival at the airport, passenger who will stay for more than 24 hours shall be subject to RT-PCR or swab test. Para naman sa mga pasahero papuntang Manila mula Iloilo, wala pong kailangang requirements na dadalhin. Para naman sa mga pasahero mula Manila papuntang Dumaguete at Zamboanga to Dumaguete, ang kanilang dadalhin na requirements ay negative RT-PCR test result prior to travel with a validity period of 72 hours from date of release. Kailangan din niyo po na mag-coordinate with LGUs of final destination or any additional requirement. At kailangan din ninyo na mag-register sa Spass. Para naman sa mga papuntang Manila galing Dumaguete, wala pong travel requirements needed, pero kailangan ninyo mag-register ng Spass account. Para naman sa mga pasahero na papuntang Zamboanga mula Manila, at saka yung mga papuntang Zamboanga mula Dumaguete City, for returning residents, ang kanilang dadalhin is government issued ID or company issue ID, preferably government issued. Kailangan din nila ng negative RT-PCR, nasal or saliva test within 5 days from date of swab. Para naman sa mga pasahero na papuntang Basulta area, kailangan ninyo ng endorsement letter from focal person of MILG BARM to Zamboanga City Tourism Office. Kailangan din ninyo ng negative RT-PCR test, nasal or saliva test, and it should be within 5 days from date of swab. Para naman sa mga papuntang Zampen area, you also need a negative RT-PCR, swab or saliva, and it should be within 5 days from date of swab. Ang mga pasahero naman na papuntang Manila mula Zamboanga, wala pong travel documents needed. So, no travel documents needed for Zamboanga to Manila. Samantala, kailangan nila na mag-register ng Spass account. Para naman sa Manila to Cebu na pasahero, ang mga papuntang Cebu City, kailangan po ng negative RT-PCR test within not more than 72 hours prior to arrival. Kailangan din ninyo na mag-register ng Spass account to secure a travel coordination permit. Para naman sa mga papuntang Cebu Province, ang kailangan ninyong dalhin is valid medical certificate, at you also need to pass symptoms checking or screening at the point of departure and at the point of arrival. Para naman sa mga papuntang Lapu-Lapu City, wala pong travel documents needed. Para naman sa mga Mandawi City bound passenger, kailangan ninyo ng valid ID, certificate of barangay residency, complete address in Mandawi City with contact number, and you also must pass symptoms screening at ports of entry and exit. Para naman sa mga pasahero na mula Cebu patungong Manila, there is no travel requirements needed. Para sa mga pasahero mula Manila to Cagayan, Iloilo to Cagayan, or Bacolod to Cagayan, kailangan po ninyo mag-generate ng travel pass-through permit mula sa Spass. Kailangan din ninyo mag-register sa Stay Safe contact tracing system. And you also need to contact LGU of destination for the travel protocols and requirements upon traveling. Para naman sa mga pasahero na papuntang Manila mula Cagayan de Oro, there is no travel documents needed, but you need to register an account with Spass. Para sa mga pasahero papuntang Butuan mula Manila, kailangan po ninyo ng negative RT-PCR test or rapid antigen test, and it should be conducted within 5 days before departure. If with travel history from NCR and the province of Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, and Rizal. Kailangan din ninyo ng letter of acceptance from the receiving LGU, and also registration with Spass is also required. Samantalang ang mga pasahero papuntang Manila na nanggaling Butuan, travel documents are not required but they need to register an account with Spass. Para naman sa mga papuntang Iligan City mula Manila, for residents of Iligan City, ang kanilang requirements is a travel clearance issued by the IMT upon presenting barangay certificate of residency and valid ID and other pertinent documents, and also they must pass the symptom screening upon entry and exit of the port. Para naman sa mga transit passengers, kailangan lang nila ng valid ID and symptom screening. For APOR, valid identification cards, acceptance pass entry permit issued by the receiving municipality of the province of Lanao del Norte, and also symptom screening. For all types of passenger coming from high-risk areas based on national IETF or identified by the provincial incident management team, a negative RT-PCR result taken at least 72 hours prior to arrival is required. If without a negative RT-PCR result, they shall be subject to 14-day home quarantine. Also, they need to register an account with Spass. Para naman sa Iligan to Manila, travel documents are not required, but they need to register an account with Spass and trace contact tracing app. For Manila to Ozamis, kailangan po ninyo ng account with Spass at staysafe.ph. So you need to register an account with Spass. For those bound to Zamboanga del Sur, kailangan po ninyo ng traveler coordination permit obtained through Spass and a copy of QR code to be presented upon arrival at the port. If you are coming from MECQ and ECQ areas, you need to present a negative RT-PCR test issued not more than 5 days from travel. For Ozamis to Manila, travel documents are not required. However, you need to register an account with Spass. For Batangas to Caticlan, a negative RT-PCR test result, it could be swab or saliva from Philippine Red Cross only, with a validity period of not more than 5 days from date of extraction, except the following: authorized person outside the residence, passing through travelers, tourists going to the island of Boracay who have separate requirements, returning Aklanon residents who left the province on official transaction, emergency or personal travel. Travelers coming from Western Visayas whose point of destination is Aklan, mainland only. Drivers, helpers of delivery trucks and vans passing through the province of Aklan, and those point of destination is within Aklan. For Caticlan to Batangas, there is travel documents not required. For Batangas to Rojas, a negative RT-PCR test result, it could be swab or saliva, and it should not later than 72 hours prior to the time of travel. You also need to register an account with Spass and generate a travel coordination permit. For Rojas to Batangas, travel documents are not required, but you need to register an account with Spass. For Manila to Coron passengers, you are not allowed to travel until May 14. For Coron to Manila, allowed except for areas on MECQ as final destination. Travel documents are not required, but you need to register an account with Spass. For Manila to Puerto Princesa, effective May 10 to 31, entry of all returning residents on non-government APOR from NCR Plus will be temporarily suspended. Only essential travelers, government APOR, and returning OFW with DOH quarantine certificate are allowed to travel. Paalala lang po, ang mga requirements na nabanggit ay subject to change. For the most updated travel requirements, kindly contact your destination LGU.